Hi, first graders. Okay, and welcome to our mini lesson. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scoot this over and bring it up so you can see my board behind me. Okay, so this mini lesson, we're going to talk about writing and our expectations for writing and kind of sort of review some of the things that I know that you know so that you can use them in the writing assignments that you're doing during e-learning. Okay, so today the first step to writing is drawing a really great picture. And then you know that we add labels, all right? So today your assignment is going to be to go on a nature walk. And I just finished my nature walk so that I could do my picture, and I walked through my backyard. And you are going to label all of the sounds that you hear, which is a little different than our normal labeling, but we're talking about sounds all week long. So I wanted to tie sounds in a little bit, and there's all kinds of sounds in nature, but we're going to focus and start with our picture, okay? So I've got my picture here. And I drew a picture of my backyard, as you can see, right? And in my backyard, I drew all the things, and I started with my path over here, and I went up behind my trees, and I went around this little flower and back around, and on the way back in, I saw my husband mowing the grass, and then I came back inside. Okay, so this is my picture, but we are going to go down the drawing checklist, and we're going to talk about each of the features that your drawings should have in them, because since drawings are the first part of writing, the better our drawing is, the better the writing we can do about it, okay? So the first part of our checklist is that our picture needs to have lots of details, okay? Lots and lots of details. So my picture's got some details, but you always want to try to add more, all right? So I'm going to add a couple more details to my picture here. Like, for example, my bird's just kind of floating in this tree, so I'm going to add some branches. Okay, and so my other trees, they kind of need branches. So I'll go ahead and add some more details for you. Okay, and you know what else I realized I forgot is we have a fire pit right about here. Okay, and it's gray. All right, so there's some more details, right? All right, so your drawing needs to have lots of details because the more details you have, the more things you can label, and then we take those labels and turn them into our lists and then into our sentences. So the more you draw, the more ideas you'll have for your writing, okay? So our second part of our checklist is we need to have true to life color, right? We don't draw and color things that don't match what they wouldn't in real life, all right? So let's talk about my picture. My husband's mower is red. Our fire pit's gray on the outside. The trees, all of this is the same thing. Now, if you drew your tree orange, well, that wouldn't be true to life, right? You need to have the right colors on your trees to have sort of an honest picture to go with your correct labels. We color true to life. Now, I will say that I might have smudged this just a little bit because my trees, they don't all have green leaves on them yet. And I kind of drew my trees before I thought about that. So if I redid my picture, I would probably just have branches. They don't have green leaves on them yet. So I would need to fix that so that my colors were true to life. All right. Now the next one's a little bit difficult, and I didn't do a great job at it. But the next one's appropriate size. All right. So appropriate size, which means that my husband on my mower over here shouldn't be bigger than my trees, right? This is probably a good size because, you know, this tree is kind of farther back from him, so you can tell the trees are taller than he is. My one detail that should have maybe been a little different is this bird over here. It's kind of almost as big as that whole tree, and that's not really true to life, right? That's not really an appropriate picture. So this bird should probably be a little bit smaller, but I was worried you wouldn't be able to see it, okay? And you can tell I have a teeny tiny little bee right here, and that's probably how small that bee would be compared to a flower, right? So make sure that you've got your sizing correctly on your picture. That's another important part of drawing our picture. All right, the next part is shape details. Sometimes it's hard to draw, right? We're not all perfect artists. I'm not a perfect artist. I mean, this does not look like artwork you'd see in a museum. But what I do when I draw is we look for shapes that we can copy and carry over, right? So for example, when I was drawing my husband on his mower, I noticed that the chair was two rectangles put together. Yeah, I'll move it a little closer to it. Okay. So his chair, okay, is two rectangles put together. See it? One up and one down, right? And the wheels are just circles. Okay, so those were easy to draw, right? And same thing with the trees. You know, they've kind of got a rectangular shape as they go up, and then it's almost like half circles all the way around of my trees, right? So we can use shapes to draw our pictures. That helps us sometimes. All right, another one is up close details. So one of the things you want to do is make sure that you get those small details included, because again, that helps us. So you can see one of my up close details is my little bee. Okay, see my little bee is an up close detail. My bird's got a beak on it, some legs. Those are that up close detail. And you can see my husband over here, he's got a little face. He's got blue eyes and there's his mouth. And no, it's not the best drawing. And if I wanted to focus on his face, we could use our emotions that we talked about at school. And, you could draw his nose better. And, there's all kinds of better details you could add. But he's not really the focus of my picture, right? So I wanted to add the details on his face so that you can tell it's a person, but not so much that we care about his emotion as much as we care about the nature and the things in the nature, okay? So the next thing is setting details. You want to add details to let people know where your picture is set, okay? Where is your picture at? And sometimes we add details to let our readers know what time it is, right? So one of the details I could have added, so this is kind of my backyard plot, sort of. So I guess my sky would still kind of be above it. I did it kind of strange, I guess. But here, if my sky's up here, I could add a sun to let you know that I went on my nature walk during the day. Now, if you added a moon, and you can't super see my sun, sorry, I'll do it in orange. If you added a moon, that would mean probably that you went on your nature walk at night, right? And that would be a good setting detail to add, right? I can add some clouds to let you know the sky was clear. I mean, a little clear. It's kind of a bright day, right? And, I could have added, just so you know where I'm at. I mean, my husband on the mower helps a little bit, but my house is like right here. Okay, and then there's a little like shed over here. So I could have added those details to let you know, oh, look, she's in her backyard because here's her house. You know what I mean? I could have drawn like our little front porch with our door there or something. I could make that look more like a roof. You know what I mean? All of those details would be good, right? All right, so now I'm going to keep my black. Now we're going to go through, and the last part of a great picture is having labels. Okay, so you're going to go through your picture and you're going to label it. Now, normally we would do labels like this. We would look at an item and we would just write what it is, right? And we would start with a label like cloud, and we would sound it out the very best we could. Cloud. And we would write all the sounds we hear. The first sound I hear is k. C at the beginning of the words, right? Because it has the and we know KL is not a blend. So k, ow. Which two letters say ow? You know what? I'm pretty sure we talked about them in reading this week. K, ow. O-W or O-U. So I know that it's O-U for this one, but you could put O-W because that's the sound you hear, and that's okay. Cool. Ow. D. Clap. Right? So that would be the first part of labeling, right? For a normal picture, we would just label the objects in our picture, and we would write the object. Now, we could take that a step farther by having adjectives, right? Cloud's a noun. We've talked about nouns. We could add an adjective with that to really describe it, because sometimes the clouds are thin and wispy, but mine's a fluffy cloud. Fluffy cloud, okay? So now you know that it's not one of those thin wispy clouds out there that day. It's the big fluffy clouds that I'm drawing, right? So you could add two-part labels to some of your items. Now, for today's assignment, though, you're not labeling each item. You're labeling the sounds that you're hearing. Okay, so for example, and I have a picture listed below of, from our Wonders book, actually, of sort of a street scene, and all the sounds are what's labeled. Okay, so I could say my husband said hello to me when I went by. So I could do a little sound bubble and I could write hello. Hello, because that was a sound that I heard, right? And my bird up here was singing. So, however you want to write the sounds, but I'm going to write tweet. That's what sound, kind of tweet. It's kind of a good sound for that. I could hear this bee when I went by the flower, which is one of the reasons I drew it. And that bee had like a buzz sound, right? Okay, so there's some sounds. I heard the lawnmower. He had it off, so it wasn't making sound. That's how I could hear his hello. But if it had been on, I could label that. You know what I mean? You could always label if you heard the wind blowing some leaves, some things like that. If you have water by your house or a stream, I could hear on mine. We have a road that's out here in front of our house. I could almost hear cars going by. You know what I mean? Like a vroom. Down here, some sound words, okay? So those are my labels, right? So that's what you're doing for your picture today. But I want you to think about this checklist, right? Think about adding lots of details to your picture. having those true to life colors, making sure the size of your things are appropriate, using shape details for things that are hard to draw, making sure you have those really teeny tiny up close details that'll help your picture, having setting details so that you know where you are, and then working on those labels of the sounds because we're talking about sounds this week. All right? Okay, thank you for watching and have fun on your nature walk.